Hi. So I wanted to record my warm up that I do every class. And this is a great 10-minute sequence to, if you can't make it to class, if you just want to have some movement in the morning, anything along those lines. It just helps you feel good, loosens up a bunch of areas. And I wanted to record it. And you can be traveling, you can use it every day, but we will start. I have my blanket. I love having a blanket. We won't need blocks for this, but maybe I have a blanket. And we're just gonna get started on our backs. And again, 10 minutes here. Settle yourself in towards the floor, nice and comfy, cozy. Letting yourself just be here. Find symmetry underneath you. So elbows both off of your yoga mat and on the floor or on. Same with your feet. So you want the ground sort of coming up to meet you symmetrically. And taking a long, full, deep inhale through your nose. Open mouth, exhale, side out. And again, inhaling all the way to the top. And an exhale to let that go. Maybe one more time. Put a little sound behind this one and feel that reverberation as you inhale. And exhale. Nice. Letting your head rest, and that's why a rolled up blanket feels good. But if you don't have it, just dropping your chin from side to side as if you're watching a tennis. Letting the head go back and forth, whether you're adding some pressure or not, but just feeling this stretch. And as you take it from side to side, reaching through the opposite fingertips. So, excuse me, as chin falls to the right, I reach to the left fingertips, and chin falls to the left. You get the back and forth. And the legs can be as is, or you can take the bottom and not so. Nice. Let's take the arms up towards the ceiling. Interlace your fingers and flip your palms away. Bring your inner thighs to touch, so zipper up your inner thighs. Arms overhead behind you towards the back of the room and stretch from tip to tip here. And then marching a little. So driving through one heel and getting longer, there's a curvature to that right side of the body. And then reaching through the left heel or the other heel and getting all that space. So a little bit of that. Both legs stay straight and then not elevating off the floor. I'm just driving through that heel a little bit more and getting that space. Nice. Beautiful. And then I love this one, and you can do it or not, see how it feels, but take those interlaced fingers behind the back of your head, your elbows out to the side here. And then bring the elbows to touch, and just using your arm strength, or not to touch, but pointing towards the ceiling. Arm strength, relax your shoulders, pull your chin towards your chest, and you're looking towards your toes. And then take your head, excuse me, from side to side here, especially if you got tightness. As deep as you like to go, as far over as you like. But just back from side to side, just to open up that space. And you're hammocking your hands, or supporting your head with your hands. So muscles in the shoulders drop away, and just take it sides. And then you'll lower your head back down. Once again, those interlaced fingers flip away from you, get nice and long, and then bring your knees in toward your chest. Take those interlaced fingers onto your shins, cross one ankle on top of the other, and just rock back and forth from side to side. So just letting the weight of the body, a little bit of gravity and anatomy do the work here. And with that ankle, so on my right ankle on top, you can feel that right hip popped out a little bit more, right? And you can get into that space. If you want to, and you have like one of those yoga tune-up balls or even a tennis ball, you can place that ball right where my hand is and then roll onto that ball and get a kneading motion there as well if you want to. It's a nice little trick to have in your toolbox or tool. And then change across of your ankles, other one on top, and notice instantly now that emphasis over into the opposite, your left hip. And all the while, the breath is staying that pendulum-like quality. And we'll come back to center. With one hand on each knee, draw some circles on the ceiling. So the knees will pull away from one another and back in towards one another. Tailbone can lift off the floor and take it wide apart. Bring it back to center and wide apart. Just like you're stirring two big pots of chili. And change directions. Nice, and then keep your legs together, so inner thighs seal, knees seal, and draw one big circle here. This one you can take out to the side a little bit more, but just this churning motion here. And changing directions with that. And then take a few circles without your hands. So you let your hands rest, firing up your hip flexors a little bit, checking in the belly muscles. You can take the legs together. And this one you can work a little bit more by straightening your legs if you want to. That's going to put some effort into your low back. So if you want to do that, you can also grab the outside edges and lifting off the floor. And back to center. Nice. And then we'll land the feet on the floor. So your knees are bent. You're going to heel toe your feet a little bit wider than hips distance apart. So if I look down, my outside edges of my heels are the furthest things out. Arms to the side in a T shape. These are windshield wipers. You're just dropping your knees from side to side. So the inside of one knee falls to the sole of the opposite foot. And you're extending through the knee that's coming across the body. So as I'm taking my knees over to the left, reach through that right kneecap and back to center, and reach through that left kneecap, and chin can fall to the opposite shoulder, and that should give you a young stretch. And do this as deeply as you'd like to go, so sending the knees down as well, or just take it nice and loosey-goosey. Nice, and we'll bring the legs back to center. From here, knees will still stay bent, soles of the feet are on the floor, but you can see now I've got inside edges of my thighs, knees, ankles, everything's kind of super glued together. Arms will be out on the side, the palms facing down. I get that guy out of the way. And take this from side to side, so draw this from side to side. So mini twists here, and you'll start to feel this in erector spinatus, which is the muscle right along your spine, as you take these twists. And even here, you can sort of press the knees energetically down towards the floor and get into that twisting motion. But again, find what works for you. So you'll do that as much as this feels right, and we'll come back to center, and then from here, stack cross your right leg on top of your left. So there's no space in between, and then draw your knees in towards your chest and give yourself a squeeze here. You can't get your hands onto the, so I have a right leg on top, I'm looking at my left shin, I'm gathering up, then bring your hands to the back of your thigh, or when I chuck that bolster away, you can always lift your hips off the floor with a cushion and draw in. And once you have this here, some turning motions here. And you'll notice that the depth comes as you draw the knees towards the left shoulder, that right leg on top. So you can even tip a little bit into that left hip, draw towards the left shoulder. And again, so much of this gets in this knee glute space, into this hips area, this low back space. Nice. And we'll come back to center. Before we do the other side, land that left foot on the floor. And you can drop this from side to side too. This gets a little deep, so see how this feels as you just swivel on this left foot back and forth. You can keep it restricted from, let's say, 10 to 2, or you can really let it fall. But again, that gets deep into this hip opener and this twist to the other side. Nice. And then we'll create a figure 4 shape with the right ankle on top of the left thigh. Make sure that bone isn't pressing in. Keep the left foot on the floor. We're not going to thread the needle. I'm going to take the heel of my right hand and press it right into the root of my right thigh. If anything, you can kind of play with that first and then find that full range of motion where it goes furthest, and then press from there. And once you start pressing, tip a little bit over to the left, and you should feel all this juicy opening in the piriformis and convergence. It should just feel good. And even here, you can tip over or onto your left hip and land that right foot on the floor, and then switch out your hands and push it away. And the right arm can drape out to 9, 10 o'clock. So lots of variations here, just depending on how much time you want to spend. Always breathing when you're looking to go deeper. Nice, and then come back to center. Let's bicycle pedal that right leg out. and take it to the other side. So we start by left leg stacked on top of the right, no spacing between knees in the same line. Hug your knees in towards your chest. And some churning circles here should feel pretty good. If you want to just rock back and forth and find stillness, ultimately, again, with left leg on top, the depth comes from taking the knees to the back right corner of the room. One more cycle. Nice. And then releasing it. So we'll land the right foot on the floor. The toes are pointed straight ahead towards, this is 12 o'clock, that's 6 o'clock. So that's my swivel there, and I'm going to drop the knees from side to side. And again, you can skip that because it's a little intense, but so long as it feels okay. And again, I'm a big fan of dropping the chin to the opposite shoulder to get that mobility going there. And you can linger as deep as you'd like to. It gets very deep as a twister, so just be mindful of that. And then finally, left ankle on top of the right thigh. I'm going to start by just sort of flapping this to find my range of motion. And then I've got toes pulled back, which is going to protect my knee and prevent me from sickling. So I want to pull the toes back. And once I found as far away as this left leg goes, the left hand presses into the root of that left thigh on the left thigh. And send it away from me. And again, you can tip a little bit over onto that right side and just get all of that space. And again, this is what I found works for me. So tailor it to what works for you. Don't buy yoga poses off the mat. We custom tailor couture fit to you perfectly, right? So again, you're using not only your arm strength here, but some of those muscles to send it. And because we have the hips grounded, you get a little traction. So it's kind of yummy. Nice, and then we'll pitch over, tip over onto this right hip. So my left foot's on the floor, shark finning this left knee towards the ceiling, and then I can press with fingertips to send that away. Oh, and that left arm scrapes out. To 3, 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, whatever feels best. For one more inhale. One more exhale. Nice. Roll back onto your back, slice of the pedal that left leg out. And then we're going to get into hamstrings a little bit here. So send that left leg away from you. Hug your right knee in towards your right armpit. Oh, taking it towards the back right corner of the room. You can do all sorts of stuff here. You can place your left hand on your left hip and swirl this around independently a little bit, a couple of times. And then we'll send that right leg up towards the ceiling and interlace fingers on the back of the right thigh. So drive the heel towards the ceiling, maybe draw some circles. Ankle, accelerate, decelerate, I like to say, roll the ankle around. And then let's climb our way up. So tuck chin, peel yourself off the floor, take your hands up. And it's almost like you're pulling up your two socks, you're drawing in flesh. And then choose to stay here a little bit of work, arms extended out in front of you, palms facing up, and pulsing here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Stay lifted on 1 for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice. We'll take this into a twist. So bring your head and shoulders to the floor. Rebending this right knee. Maybe you shift your hips. It's a good idea to shift your hips to the right. We'll take this into a supine twist. So left hand sweeps the knee as I spill over onto my right side. Early in the practice or early in your practice, and depending on how you're feeling, you can keep that left hand on the outside of the right thigh drawing down, or just let that left arm just drape out to the side. Just falling into this twist here. Listen to your body. Watch your breath just like wrapping around your spine like a barber shave. You can cactus this right arm if you want to get a little deeper there. For one more inhale and exhale. Make your way onto your backs and do the opposite side. So right leg extends, hug that left knee to the back left corner of the room, getting through that right heel. Maybe a few circles here. And then we'll send that left leg up to the ceiling. So hands, just like you're trying to pull your fingers apart, drive through the heel, accelerate, decelerate, and climb your way up. So spin your outer upper arms toward the floor so they're not sneaking up towards your ears. Chin tucks, arms extend out in front of you. We did so on the other side too, so here. And reaching for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Stay lifted for 1 and pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice. We'll lower ourselves, bump or shift your hips to the left as you bring that left knee across your body. So we do that because when we come into this twist, we don't want the spine to be curved as we want to be revolving a straight spine. So my heel, tailbone, and crown of the head all feel like the same. And again, listening to your body on this side. And maybe you dribble the thigh like a basketball or just stay as you want. For 3. As long as you want for 2. And 1. Roll back onto your backs. Last little bit here, which is fun to do, is take a block. This will just fire you up if you have a block. And if you don't, you can use a roll-up blanket or anything like that. But bring the block in between. So my knees are stacked on top of my hips. Blocks in between the thighs. You can see that. And I'm gonna grab the outside edges of my yoga mat. That seals my low back towards the floor. Exhale, straighten your legs. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten. So if you took your thumbs to your hip flexors, you can feel 100% non-use here, right? Then they engage 100%. So bending. Ooh, excellent. And maybe from side to side, so arms in T-shape, palms down. Go from side to side. You can always extend that top leg if you want to. And you get into the obliques, the side abdominals. And back to center. And then maybe just some bridge lifts. And just be mindful if you have something high underneath. Squeeze into the block, peel your spine off the floor, push down to rise up, chest to chin, chin away from the chest. Nice. Beautiful. Release the block. You're going to make your way up to tabletop position, hands and knees, either rocking a couple times if you want to, or just roll over onto your side. And then we'll finish up just with some hip circles here. So stacking yourself in this box shape, shoulders on top, wrist creases facing forward, index fingers parallel. I like toes tucked or stretched into some fascia. And then just roll through this here. And since you've been on your back for about 10 minutes or so, it should feel pretty good. Some cows and cats, but just some intuitive movement here. Back and forth from side to side. And you can add things. You can take your arms way up to the side and drop down towards the floor. Getting a little bit more towards the shoulders. Let's take it back. There's a shoulder opener, weave underneath if you want that. But let's just finish this off. In a child's pose, bring your big toes to touch, settle your hips back and down towards the floor. Rest your forehead, but tilt more towards the hairline rather than the bridge of your nose. And your arms extend. Connect to the ground. For 1 arm inhale. And 1 more exhale. Nice. If you want to do anything further, you can. Downward facing dog, hold some planks, anything that you feel feels good to you. But that's just a little bit of movement in the morning. Take that, turn it into what you want, add, subtract, right? Make it your own practice. That's how I start my classes. I love doing some of that as I travel in the mornings. It's just a great way to prep your body for the rest of the day. Thank you very much. Enjoy. Namaste.